Well, joining me now, Kevin Brogan from Corelogic. We're going to talk property now. Kevin, good morning to you. So how did the clearance rates go last weekend, and what were your thoughts of that?
So we actually saw the clearance rates just come back a little. Sydney about 74.5%, Melbourne just a shade behind at 74.4%. So although they've come back a little bit from what we've come to expect with ever-increasing clearance rates, historically they're still very high. I mean, this time last year, the clearance rates in both capital cities were in the 50s.
And are we referring to any particular city here, Kevin, or is it a sort of a national average?
So we do a weighted capital city average, which came in at 70%, and that's down from last week. But again, I have to say that across the combined capital cities, that's still a very strong performance compared to last week. Unfortunately for Adelaide, we actually saw the clearance rate drop quite significantly to 47%.
What's behind that?
Well, look, I think when you look at some of the smaller capital city markets, you get a bit of volatility in those markets with the results. We have tens of auctions in Adelaide rather than hundreds in Sydney and Melbourne. But I do think if you look at the performance of the markets, Adelaide has, in particular, as an example, has been sort of running its own race when Sydney and Melbourne have experienced softening markets, and it's similarly the case when Sydney and Melbourne are actually seeing quite a big increase in activity.
All right, what about an increase in values? I'm just reading here. August results show that there's been a first increase in value since October 2017. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So that's actually consistent with those auction clearance rates, and again, particularly with the focus on Sydney and Melbourne, where this sort of recovery in confidence has been most evident. So through the month of August, we saw an increase in dwelling prices in Sydney of 1.6%, and in Melbourne at 1.4%, and that is a significant increase over last month's 0.2% for each of those capital cities. And in the context of the significant falls that we saw over the sort of preceding 15 months or so, that's quite a turnaround.
Length of home ownership stats have been released, Kevin. Can you tell me what they're telling you?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a sort of interesting side statistic. I mean, over the last 15 years, across the country, the average length of home ownership has actually increased by almost 4 years. It's now 11.3 years. And the longest length of home ownership is actually in Melbourne at just over 12 years. I mean, this is a testament to sort of the increasing costs of transfer of property. And also, we've seen the restrictions on sales activity in the markets due to funding availability and serviceability requirements, which would have an impact as well on how many people put their properties to market.
And I suppose people don't want to keep selling and then buying, so they're going to keep paying stamp duty over and over again.
That's certainly one of the factors.
One of the factors. Kevin Brogan, that's all the time we've got from Corelogic. Kevin, appreciate your time this morning, and happy hunting out there this weekend if you're looking for a home, folks, at all those auctions.